Yo, how's it going? This is David, also known as Lyricist with Surge Radio's Coffee and Convo. Just want to let you guys know I got a little bit of good news. So, good news being that the regular Surge Radio will be coming back next month. Me and my co-host, going to be working on some content and everything, get it ready, but we're going to start doing things live, and you'll be seeing it on TikTok and also seeing it on IG as well. So, regular Surge Radio will be coming back next month. We will be releasing more info throughout October about that, and also advertising as well. So I hope everybody's having a good day. Off to a positive start. I don't really have a topic that I want to talk about, but like I said, I go organically. It comes to me rather quickly, so we're going to knock it out the box. One thing for me, though, I do have a serious problem with, and I do have to say problem because it is a problem, is the lack of confidence in decision making. People will make a decision about something and not be comfortable with their decision. And it's always some type of remorse. If it's buyer's remorse, choice remorse, whatever. You have to be confident when you make a decision on something because you know that for some reason you made that decision. You can't let other exterior forces change your mind about why you decided to do something the way you decided to do it. If it works for you, let it work for you. Don't let people allow you to work against yourself. I would never make a decision based on, how somebody else think or feel 100% of the time. I think that's nightmarish to me. I think it's kind of, ignorant, and I can't even put myself in a mindset to do that shit. That's just stupid to me. I do business with a lot of people, and every single time I tell them this: I want you to be comfortable and confident in a decision you're making before we move forward. And I told them, I'm like, you got more than enough time to change up and do whatever needs to be done. But once the wheels start turning and I start putting things into action, there's no going back. Because it's time and energy that goes into certain things. So I'm in the real estate industry. That's one of my businesses, and I was telling the individual, I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy this home. I'm prepared to move forward and get it done today. Let me know what you want to do and when you're ready to do it, whenever you're comfortable. He's going through some things in his life with his health and everything, and he has to start, preparing to, make changes. So he's like, hey, I want to move forward with the deal. I feel comfortable with you, but let me speak to, my pastor and, my brother about it before, we move forward. I respect that. That's the way you should do things. You should take the time out to consult those individuals around you to see, if that's something you really want to do. And, he reaches out to me. He tells me, hey, my brother wants to talk to you. He has some questions. Great. So the brother reaches out. I take the call. And he's like, yeah, I heard about you. And, I'm looking to get this much money for the house because, I got plans for it if we can't get that amount of money. I said, well, you have to be careful because me and your brother have a verbal agreement. And I would hate to walk back a verbal agreement because of, someone else overstepping their boundaries out of greed. Now, and I told him, I said, with all due respect, me and your brother have a verbal agreement. I'm going to honor that verbal agreement that with your brother because we have the agreement in place. So this is what you should do. You should go speak to your brother about it, and we can all come up with a solution, whether, I get the deal done or not. It's really up to you guys. Well, that's the number I'm thinking about because I got plans. It wasn't about his brother. It's about his plans at this point. So I said, okay, all right, go have the conversation with your brother. Let me know what's going on. So I reached out to the brother the other day, the actual owner. And I told him, I said, hey, I had a conversation with your brother. You know, he told me that there was other plans for it. I said, I wanted to chat with you because I know that you said that you really wanted to offload the houses because, you know, you wanted to be done with the deal. And I said, but we agreed to one number. Your brother came with a much, much higher number than what we agreed on. And he's like, yeah, you know, they're trying to get more money to cover my, you know, health expenses, things like that. I said, I understand that, but the market has cooled off. So what I offer is going to be based on what the market says that I should offer. But I actually offered him $5,000 more per each property to get it done. So I was really looking out for him in the interim before the market cooled off, before, you know, his brother intervened. I already offered that extra money. And, you know, having to explain to him, like, look, this is where the market is. And he said, look, I understand that. And he said, he really asked you for that much more money for these homes? I said, yes. That's what your brother tried to negotiate. And I told him to speak with you about it. I'm not trying to get in between you guys, but I wanted it to be known that, you know, he tried to rework the deal. And I'm not going to do that without the consent of the owner and everything. So he said, look, I want to let them know that whatever decision I make, they're going to have to, you know, support it. I said, yes, because this is for you. You own these two homes. You know, you want to get this deal done. So, you know, in that situation, someone else stepped in and made a choice and tried to rework it because they were like, okay, well, he shouldn't have did this, he shouldn't have did that. That was a choice remorse on behalf of someone else. How can you make that decision? Because if I have buyer's remorse and I was to match the market, I'd be like, okay, I'll offer you $5,000 less than what your property is actually worth. Or get you back to what your property is worth. So it's just one of those things. You have to be confident. I stood my ground. I said, look, my offer is not going to change. You know, this is what I'm offering. This is what works best for me. If we're going to do the deal, let's do it. Other than that, we can just sit back on it. You can do whatever you have to do. Look at all your resources or the resources that was promised to you. So, you know, that's just one of those deals. You tell a person like, hey, I am trying to move forward. I want to get something done. I can't have any regrets. I can't think about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I have to move forward and get it done. There's nothing wrong with having a level of remorse, but you have to put yourself in a position to understand that something has to get done. You don't have time to just regret. I don't live in regret. I actually put myself in a position where I operate in a space of this is the way it should be. This is the way it needs to be. This is how it should go. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with those type of decisions because it's so finite. Yes, it's finite for a reason. And the reason why it's finite is so everybody can move forward and not have to worry about what's going to happen next. You can move on to the next thing. You know, so I'm comfortable with my decisions. I've walked away from multiple deals with thousands of dollars on the table because I was confident about why I arrived at why I should walk away. A lot of people don't have that comfort. I do. I don't lose sleep over walking away from a toxic situation. It doesn't matter to me. You know, some people are like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have did this, maybe I shouldn't have did that. No, not me. Like, I did it for a reason. Most likely there was something in there, you know, that made me feel like I shouldn't deal with it. Oh, I mean, I've been caught up in a situation with people that were terrible to do business with. And I was like, yep, I'm done. Not moving forward with that deal. I'm going to seek out another one. You know, I don't let, like, my situation, here's something else we can segue into. I don't let my situation dictate my decision. I can have it rough at that time, but I'm not going to be desperate. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of crazy shit out of desperation. You know, selfishness and desperation can put you in a hole. It can put you in a hole that you can't even come out of, because you just sit up there and be like, okay, I do it. Motherfucker will offer you like $20 for something you should get $500 for. And just because your situation is hard, like, you know what? Give me the 20. No. I will bleed out of my eyes before I make a bad decision. I will put myself through the fucking ringer before I allow myself to make a decision based off of desperation. I have such a can-do winner's mentality that it doesn't even process. I don't even allow myself to process that emotion or feeling. I'm like, no, we're getting it done. We're getting it done. Some people be like, oh no, I'm so desperate. Life is so hard. I don't know what to do next. You do know what to do. Stand your ground. Find a way and push through. That's what you do. That's what you do. Don't make excuses. Don't get so weak because your body is telling you, you know, you gotta hurry up and make this decision. You gotta do it now before you lose it. You gotta get that. You gotta, like, no. Victory is victory when you take time and analyze what needs to be done and make a finite decision, be comfortable with that decision, and watch how things blossom from that decision. You have to be absolutely comfortable. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with themselves like that. I'm not that person. I'm 100% confident in anything I do. There was this one time where I was up against the wall. Everything was going on. You know, I was down health-wise. You know, my bills were late, and try to play catch up and everything else. You know, and I had this one deal come across my table, and it was a lot of money. But the person was such a bad individual, such a terrible individual. I was like, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't want to do about it. And there's a part of like, well, you need that money. You have to do this. You got to think about your family. Think about this. Think about that. I thought about all those things. But I also thought about, is it really worth it to sell my soul or take a deal that's bad in the long run just for short-term gain? That person ended up being the most toxic individual. Horrible. Terrible business sense. Didn't care about how he hurt people or anything else, you know. And when I found those things out, this was after I decided to not take the deal. He went along with someone else that I happened to know, and they told me, like, oh man, you so lucky you ain't deal with this guy. He's an asshole. He's one of the worst people I've ever worked for in my life. And I was 100% content and happy. But guess what? By me turning that down and say, you know what, I'm just going to wait. The universe blessed me with multiple jobs at that time, multiple deals at that time that made it easier for me to move forward and not feel bad about it. And I made more money on those deals than I did with with the potential of that deal. So like I said, man, you know, be comfortable with your decisions. Be comfortable with who you are, because at the end of the day, you know what's best for you. Follow your gut. Don't let little things like money dictate how you live the rest of your life and what you want to do next. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today's episode. Until the next episode of Coffee and Convo, I'll catch you guys later.